Welcome back. Let's define the requirements for this simple project to demonstrate Cosmos DB. Just so you are aware, there isn't any kind of real data from New York Taxi made available in the public domain for this scenario. So I've created a handful of records so that we can learn about Synapse Link. Let's assume that every taxi is fitted with a device which the taxi drivers use to manage the highest and communicate with the centralized systems and support teams. This could be accepting new hires, taking payments, etc. For the purposes of this project, we are going to be working on an event data called heartbeat. This kind of data is quite common with IoT devices. Let's assume that our devices send this heartbeat data every minute to the centralized system. This event is in the form of JSON, and it contains things like device location, whether the taxi is currently being hired or it's available for hire, etc. This information could be used in assigning new hires to these taxis and even for creating a dashboard with all the taxis and their precise location on a map and monitor them closely. In order to achieve this, we need a technical solution which creates Cosmos DB Analytics Store using Synapse Link so that the data is available in near real time for reporting. We want to be able to query and perform big data analytics on this data that's stored in the analytical store via HTAP connectors using Spark SQL Pool. We want to be able to make the data available by our serverless SQL pool so that reporting tools such as Power BI can report from this data. So these are the requirements. We're going to look at all of these requirements except Power BI, as I've already demonstrated how to connect to serverless SQL pool from Power BI. Let's take a look at the solution. We need to create a Cosmos DB database with a container to receive the data from the devices. We'll then enable Synapse Link so that the analytical store is created and the data from the transactional store is replicated in the analytical store. We'll then create a link service in Synapse to connect to the Cosmos DB database. We then want to be able to access this data from Spark Pool as well as the serverless SQL pool. We'll start doing all of this from the next session, but I want to make you aware of a couple of things beforehand. As I said, there is no real data available for this in the public domain. So I have created a handful of records for this and will manually insert them into the Cosmos DB container. We can use something like .NET or Python SDK to programmatically insert data into Cosmos DB, but that's for the Cosmos because our focus here is to enable Link also. Our main focus here is to read the data from the analytical store in Cosmos DB. We can also query the transaction store. But that's not the focus for us. With the introduction of Synapse Link, Analytical Store gives us the best performance. And that's what we're trying to learn here. Now that we understand the project requirements and the solution, let's start building it.